again, while we're talking about the NL West, one of your prophecies came true recently. We noticed that you've of course
Here
been
we go, huh?
very.
I better clear the throat out a little bit with some fountain drink here.
Well, yeah, because again, you've been very critical recently, and since this show was started, of what's come to be known as Propellerheads. And as it turns out, these again are the GMs that come less with baseball experience and more with an Ivy League type mentality, where it comes from book experience and things of that nature, but it's not rooted in baseball. You've been very critical of these guys, and recently.
I've been a little critical.
Well,
recently, what happened?
Well, I was going to say recently, Josh Burns, the San Diego Padres, was shown the door.
That's right.
Yes.
And so let this be a warning right now. It's coming from me, from the iBaseball Channel, to all you owners, all the ownership out there in baseball. Let this be a warning that this is a trend now. And I hope it's a trend that's going in the opposite direction, because it's definitely entered the game. I believe it's cost a lot of guys, baseball guys, jobs that try to get jobs and stay in the game. It's cost them their jobs. The whole scenario of the way organizations get reorganized under new ownership or a new GM, where they come in and fire everybody, no matter who it is, and then this trend of these propeller heads that have never played the game, number one, and don't even have maybe even a scouting background at all, to boot, come in, and all of a sudden they're recognized as these big, geniuses, behind the drawing board, the architects of these winning ways and world championships. And it's just not a fact. There's way more of them that have failed than have really put it together. And then when you look at the way some of the success stories of these guys, a lot of it was pre-built in already, and they had people surrounding them that never got credit for the real guys behind those closed doors making the big decisions, in on the big trades and all this stuff going on. And these guys are taking the credit for it. And now, Roy, it's coming back, and they're going to start dropping like flies now, I hope.
Yeah.
Because I've gone through this I've had personal experience with this, and it's bad, and it's really bad. And I've been telling you about this, it's been an ongoing thing. And now, last night, one of them got the old axe.
And it wasn't even the one we were expecting. Again, we've been keeping our eye on Kevin Towers over there.
He was my third pick in our discussions prior to this.
But again, with Towers, with the La Russa move and all those things, it was leading us to believe that was going to happen next. And then, of course, when you step back and look at the records themselves, the three teams that are helmed by propeller heads, as you call them, the Cubs, the Diamondbacks, and the Padres, are all at the bottom of the cellar in their respective divisions.
Well, this all can get broken down any way you want it, but here's one way to break this down. A guy like Josh Burns comes into a former world champion team, the Arizona Diamondbacks, and gets into a World Series again, fires that manager, brings in his buddy, a guy that's never managed a day in his life in the big leagues,
A.J. Hinch,
that was just a field coordinator, and throws him into a big league uniform. And on top of that, gives him a real nice 4-year deal, while he's in the midst of a real nice 8-year deal. See? And this is what this is all about setting their buddies up and doing all this kind of stuff. And they're just gamblers, Roy. It's just the luck of the draw. They can be dealt 4 aces just as easy as they can get dealt the old 19 hands, what we used to call it, nothing, and so now it's coming back, and they're getting their rear end handed to them, which they should, because more baseball people have been run out of the game, and they should be in the game, and it's a travesty that there's people sitting at home that have a huge amount of information, experience, and advanced. Anything you want, there's people sitting at home that have played the game, coached, managed, that should be in the game. And now these guys are getting, and this is a good example right here, because, and then he gets they swap out. He goes over to San Diego, and he brings his little A.J. Hinch buddy over there with him, right back over there. You think A.J.'s nervous this morning? He better be. If I'm him, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
Because he better go.
Yeah. And go with him to the next stop where somebody else then picks up.
They're
Josh
talking
Prince.
about, they'll say, what about Bud Black? Well, if anybody stays, it should be Bud Black. Bud Black is the best baseball person and probably should have had more input on players, and then maybe they wouldn't be as bad as they are.
Well, and that's what I want to ask you about.
You can see the way the Padres play, right? They pitch well, but they can't hit. Hello, it's because the manager's an ex-big league pitcher. But maybe the ex-big league pitcher wasn't allowed to get involved in the hitting and playing part of it, and that he got shelved. And, we'll let some other guys make some decisions over here, and now, look, they can't hit.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you. Again, you're looking at, not to kick too much dirt in the Padres' eyes, but you're looking at a team that's pretty much last in every conceivable baseball offensive statistic at this point. How does an organization fall so far under the level? And I think you just kind of answered my question there. But,
I hope so.
That, again, they're obviously no attention to detail with the bats. They brought in a couple of guys.
Some people are better at knowing what they're looking at than others, Roy. I mean, it's that, you make a right choice, and it starts with draft picks, and the guys you hire to run your minor leagues. These guys, they mess people up all the time down there. They're not just a little country club thing where everybody's all pampered and taken care of. There's organizations that go through periods where when you're only winning 34 or 35 games out of 100 in the minor leagues, you got 6 or 7 minor league teams, and you're doing that as an organization. Do you realize what that kind of an atmosphere that develops? You're a bunch of losers.
Yeah.
Well, that you've got to stop that, and the way you stop that is by the leaders and your coaching and the people that you're surrounding yourself with. So it's a problem that they don't address because they're all in there with their buddies, and I'll take my buddy here and I'll take my buddy there, and I'll get my buddy promoted so that he can be a GM someday and get our other buddy in there. And it's just, I've heard these conversations over and over again, and that's why I'm sitting here today on the other side of this microphone and not on the field where I probably should be.